Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to some career mode goodness. And we're back and we're getting really towards the end of the season. As you can see, we're currently sitting in 7th. We've got quite a few games in hand, and that's what's really saving our bacon right now, is the fact that we do have games in hand. So although our league position looks a little bit weak right now in 7th place, I really feel as though because of the two or three games that we have in hand, we can definitely climb our way back up there. And I was just taking a look at a few of the fixtures we have. We have Everton coming up. We also have Spurs coming up as well. That's going to be a really tough game. I'm not too sure how that's going to pan out. As you guys can see, Spurs are currently sitting in 3rd, but they have 3 games in hand on the top spot right now. So it could go really poorly these next few games, or they could just be magnificent. But we'll just have to wait it out and see. And we just need to make sure that players stay fit, because always towards the end of the season, guys, especially if you're in these sort of Europa Leagues and any sort of tournaments, this is where it really starts to sort of tax your players' fitness. It gets really intense. You have to make sure that you are really rotating the team well. And eBay there, Jordan eBay is actually really happy that he's starting to play. You know, I did say a few episodes ago that I want him to be playing come on as a substitution, that sort of thing, not necessarily start games, because he's just not good enough yet to start any games. But we had some games that I could just put him in, I could substitute him on, and so he was obviously pretty happy with that. He was glad he got some games, and I never realized how good he was till I brought him on. So he's definitely going to be one of those players that I'm going to be bringing on to, you know, after the 70 minutes if we have a 2-goal lead or something like that. But second leg of this Europa League against Benfica. First leg we lost 2-1 at away to Benfica, and that, you know, that score is a bit like, you know, it's not a really bad score, but it's not a good score. It's kind of just in the middle, because we managed to pick up the away goal, which is very important in these Europa League games. But at the same time, we only lost by 1 goal. So as far as aggregate goes, we're actually in an okay place as long as we win at home. I was sorting out the team a little bit as well, making sure that I went in with a solid team, because beating Benfica is just a must. You know, obviously this is the semi-final, so if I can beat Benfica, I'm all the way through to the finals. And I really hope, you know, the finals, I actually have no idea who I'm going to face against the finals, so it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully by the end of this, we'll be able to see just a little bit later on. But like I said, I had this game. I was playing with the alternate kits as well. Sturridge there just turns the Benfica player inside out, and unfortunately he couldn't get it past the goalkeeper. But to be honest, he was getting dragged and pushed, and it looked as if there was a bit of t-shirt pulling on going on as well. So you know, a little bit disappointed there. But the keeper makes an amazing back-to-back save there. First one was a great job to get down low and stick a leg out just to make sure he didn't get concede at the near post, and then a good reaction save for the second time, and he really just saved my ass there really well. So props to my keeper for that. But we had a little bit more opportunities towards on. You know, as you can see, it was only 0-0 in the entire of the first half, and then even going into the second half, it took, you know, quite late onto the game for the first goal to appear. And as you can see, it was through the form of Daniel Sturridge, who has 41 goals across all competitions. I am sorry, but he is just wrecking face right now. He is literally steamrolling all of his games at the moment. So I mean, I hope he doesn't get injured anytime soon, because that would be disappointing. I hope he can keep going throughout the rest of the season. But it didn't take long till we went 2-0 up in the 77th minute. Then I was panting. I was shitting my load, and I was so scared of this, because if they just got 1 goal, that means it would have to go into extra time, and I was just really nervous with it all. An absolute peach of a strike there from Asaidi. Unfortunately though, the keeper gets a hand to it, and it didn't allow us to make it 3-0. But as you can see, Sturridge, actually, speaking of injuries, a pulled hamstring. Hopefully that's him only out for a week or two, because if it was any more than a week or two, it could really pose some issues, you know, especially if we go through on this, then it could be an issue for the final. But we'll just have to wait and see. So in the 90th minute, I thought I had the game sealed. This would have meant I go through. A great save for the keeper. But what the fuck, EA? You've done this to me so many times. In the 90th minute, Amar, who comes on, he actually came on as a substitute, scores to make it 2-1. And you know what that means? We got to go into extra time. I was so devastated with this. I'm not too sure if the replay goes long enough to show you what happens, but just like, oh, it was just an absolute mess. I was so disappointed with that. I just had to hold them off for till the whistle blew, essentially, and it just wasn't. I wasn't able to do it. And in all honesty, a little bit disappointed with that. But you know, in extra time, a great turn there from Barini. I had to bring on Barini. The fitness levels were just too low to keep on Sturridge, and he was a little bit injured as well. So you guys saw that I actually ended up taking him off. It just wasn't worth keeping him long until the point where he had to get injured extremely. But Sterling literally dead. Like, I'm serious. He had no fitness. Like, he was dead. He couldn't move, but we managed to get the goal, as you guys saw. Daniel Sturridge there with the 9.6 rating and the man of the match, which was well deserved. Unfortunately, though, he is injured and he will be out for around 3 weeks, and that's a long time, especially towards the end of the season, and that could really hinder both our Premier League chances of getting into the top 4 or even into the top 5, and also our chances of winning this entire Europa League. But you know, beating Benfica to go through to the final was magnificent. I know it was we left it really tight, and in all honesty, really nerve-wracking as well. I was really disappointed with the fact that I ended up conceding in that 90th minute. That made my job so much harder than it had to be. But you know, we won and we went through, and that's what's important. That's what we got to focus on. So Barini there takes over for Daniel Sturridge, as you can expect. I still have eBay there, who's gonna hopefully, you know, get some more game time, because I was very impressed when I brought him on as a substitute in quite a few previous games. So the team's fitness at the moment is looking okay. You know, there's a few players in there that really just need to make sure I swap them around quite frequently, especially with, you know, again, towards the end of the season, fixture congestion is an absolute bitch. But there is the table right now in 7th place. I have only played 32 games, and I mentioned earlier before, I've got quite a few games in hand. Here are what I have left. So as you can see, it is Spurs in the final of the Europa League. I've also got Fulham there. Fulham are having a storming season for whatever reason. Not entirely sure why, but I was against the French national side. Sorry, Newcastle. I was against Newcastle there, and they've got Cisse and just a bunch of good players. Gutierrez there as well, and you know, Newcastle are a solid side. They're certainly not a side to kind of go in playing easy. I'm not entirely sure how their season's going. I'm pretty sure they're not in the relegation zone, and that's all that matters really for them. But they still have managed to hold on to Papi Cisse though, so they'll be really happy with that. And I didn't actually see Demba Ba on their team, but that's because he's moved over to Chelsea, because I am on that latest squad update. So if any of you guys are like, Demba Ba is on my Chelsea team, why is on my Newcastle team, why is he not on this team, is because I'm playing on quite a recent squad update, so he is obviously over on the Chelsea side now. Got quite a few chances early on. Newcastle were kind of out of it a bit. You know, they didn't do too well, but an absolute rocket of a goal comes in from Aubameyang. And, you know, he didn't really show up too much in the last few games, but it was good to see that when Daniel Sturridge wasn't around, he was there to fill his shoes and actually pick up a goal, which made it 1-0. Really happy with that. S80 with a few skill moves there, showing off what he can do. Unfortunately, that just comes whiskers away from going into the back of the net, but it wasn't meant to be. So I was really nervous, and I thought, you know what, maybe I should just bring him off, and I can kind of see why he didn't score that. If you take a look at his fitness there, he is literally a dead man, so I decided to change that out. As you can see, I also brought on eBay as well, just because, like I said, you need to make sure my players are in good fitness, especially with Daniel Sturridge not available. I need to make sure that I'm constantly rotating the strikers around, just so that, you know, one, none of them gets injured, and two, they always have decent, you know, I kind of understand they're not all going to have full sort of fitness when I'm playing with them, but at least have solid fitness. But I ended up winning 1-0, and that's all it took. That's all I needed was 3 points. And here you can see, you know, I'm just short of that little green zone. I need to get into that green zone, and I really hope I can. It's just a matter of winning the next few games, and the next game is in fact against Everton, but you guys are gonna have to wait until next episode to watch that. If you would be so kind enough to leave a like or anything along those lines, that would be very much appreciated. Also, comment. Well, I haven't asked you any guys any questions, so comment with your favorite type of pizza. And for me, it's black pudding on pizza, I guess. That's a real letdown, I know. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.